Hi there, this is the recap for the Bramsons and the Cascade. We also went over the fundamentals of juggling. I sent you copies of that if you wanted to review that material. So the biggest thing that we went over are how to break down a pattern into individual parts so you can practice those parts before you put them all back together in a full pattern. So for instance, with our cascade, if we want to get our cascade cleaner, we just start off with one hoop, pass to the left, pass to the right, and we go back and forth. Usually I do about 100 times per each hand, and how I keep track of that is I'll start off with my right and go 1, 1, 2, 2, and I'll count to 100 or 20 or 50 or whatever else. And for two hoops, the patterns that we do would be a crossing pattern starting with left, crossing pattern starting with right. And we do that about 100 times. Or the snake pattern. So snake pattern starts with two hoops in one hand, and you throw the first hoop, and before you catch the first hoop, you throw the second hoop, and then after you catch the first hoop, you throw it underneath, and then you cycle the pattern on both sides. So it looks like this: throw, 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 throw. And see, the silver hoop is always going under the teal hoop when you cross. And that is just the three hoop cascade missing one hoop. And so that's that pattern. And then, of course, you have your three hoop cascade. That would be just the next part that we would practice. And so how we do that with Bramsons. Actually, quick, we'll go over the technique with Bramsons. It's going to be mostly a elbow movement like this. We're not moving it, front and back. It's more side to side. And look what that would look like from the front, like right there. And we're going to twist our hoop and place it in the center at the last minute. So our elbow's a little bit forward, and we're twisting the hoop up and placing it in the center of our chest right here, and right at our sternum. So we're gonna hit our sternum first before it travels up and over. And so it's a toss up your shoulder. So you're tossing it up essentially from your belly. And so my elbow is in a vertical, going side to side and up. It is a little bit like kind of like a 45-degree angle. It's not all the way forward. It's not all the way sideways. It's more like a 45. And we're hitting it to your chest right there, underneath your sternum. It goes up and over and on your shoulder, and then you're putting back and you're anticipating the catch with your hand. And I usually do this one about 100 times in each hand. So I'm not going straight forward, I'm not going completely sideways, just a little bit in between. And it helps to open up your hand and point the direction that you want it to go. So I want it to go up and over like that, so I point my hand up like that. Oops, a little bit too much salsa on that one, but it is a toss. Sometimes you will just accidentally toss it over if you don't touch it to your chest first. So that's the first drill. And a drill that we didn't do that I like to do is I like to imitate the motion with the empty hand. So you go up and then you're back. So you act like you're going to throw another one and then you catch. So it's imitating the motion of doing an extra hoop before you have an extra hoop. And that's one of my favorite things to do, is break down a pattern and add the motions and add the timing before you add the extra prop. So that's what that looks like without two hoops, and that would be the second drill I would do. The third drill I would do would be the second drill, but with two hoops. So it would be up and up. Oop. And it has a little bit of a side to side motion to help with the timing. you're leaning to the side of the your native side when you go to throw, and then native side with the other one. So you go native, native, native side, native side. So we're leaning to that side, but we're putting it on our non-native side. So we're leaning to our native side, non-native side, and placing it on our non-native side. That helps with the timing, and it also kind of helps with the way the hoop moves too. So that would be that one with 2. What you can also do with 2 to get used to 3 is it's a lot harder to clap, so I just touch my chest with the next hand that you're supposed to throw with. So that would be the 3rd hoop with the right hand. So if you're starting with the right hand, you would touch with your right hand. If you're starting with your left hand, you would touch with your left hand. It's very similar to the second drill, but it's the second drill with 2 hoops. So you're just adding in what the 3rd hoop would be. So if you were starting with your right hand, the 3rd hoop would be in your right hand. If you're starting with your left hand, the 3rd hoop would be in your left hand. So again, touch. That just helps with timing without adding the extra hoop. All right, and then what you can do with 3 hoops is just starting with the cascade and add one in, and then go back into the cascade, and then do the other side, and then go back into the cascade and do the other side, and so on and so forth. And then after that, you can go into tennis, which is continuous Bramsons with 1 hoop, or it'd be continuous wall playing with 1 hoop. It's continuous with 1 hoop going back and forth on one side. So for instance, in this one, it's going to be the silver hoop. We'll be doing the tennis. So it goes up, and then back to the Bramson, and then back to the Bramson. And then I collected because I was kind of losing it there. So that is a tennis drill. That's about like the 5th drill that I normally do in a day. And another drill that you can do is not actually sure what it's called, but it's just doing it continuous with 1 hand to one shoulder, or 1 hand to the other shoulder. So it would look like silver hoop starts, and then just continuous Bramsons on one shoulder. And then of course, you know, got to do the other side. Yeah. And so that's Bramsons. After that, you would just try flashing, you know, 3. I still don't quite have it, but you can learn it with me. And so after that, we also have lazies. So lazies, they're mostly, they're kind of a swinging motion when you go back to catch. Since you're catching back here, and then your elbow stops, and then you go up at a 45-degree angle, kind of like the Bramson, and then you let go about a 45-degree angle again. So your arm is at a 45-degree angle from your torso, and it's up a 45-degree angle from the ground. So about right there is where you let go. It pops up. You want a nice floaty throw. That's what makes it look more lazy. And again, we catch back here, or you can even catch right there, or you can even catch up there. So the whole motion is that. So even if it's like way up there, way far in front of you, if you do that motion, it's still a lazy. You would like to, of course, get them like more like that. That would be ideal. But in the end, you're catching and pushing it back, and then you're swinging your arm stops at your side, and you continue the motion. and you're also supposed to catch it. Yep. I haven't properly warmed up yet today. Okay, so that is with one hoop, and then it's all of the same breakdown that we did with Bramson and also with Cascade with you know, 2 hoops. So you would go side, side, and that'd be right, and then left, side, side, and then side, side. And I'm watching them, each individual hoop, till it gets about right there in my peripherals. It's like right before it passes through my peripherals. And you could, like, you know, do it more continuous like that if you like. And that would be with 2 hoops. Much harder one would be lazies in a snake pattern. I haven't really practiced that one, but after talking to you about it, it seemed like a pretty reasonable thing. I was like, I don't know why I hadn't practiced it that way. Snake patterns are harder than a 3 hoop pattern. So a snake, even though it's the same pattern, something about the timing, it's a lot harder to wrap most people's brains around. So those would be 2 of the drills I'd do with that. And then with most tricks after the 3 hoop cascade, you're going to add them into, I mean, if they're symmetrical tricks at least, you are going to practice them with your 3 hoop cascade and then tennising them in or throwing them into any pattern. So the same thing that we did with Bramsons, we're going to do with lazies. And you're like, all right, 1 lazy, back into the thing. 1 lazy, back into the thing. And back and forth like that. So I'll show you one more time. So it'd be like 1 lazy, back into a cascade. And then other side lazy, back into a cascade. Other side lazy, back into a cascade. Other side lazy, back into a cascade. And that's the first drill that I would do. The second drill would be tennis again. So it's just side to side. I'll do it from the front so you can see it a little bit better. So purple hoop, tennis. And so the whole time I'm doing the lazies with the purple hoop while I'm cascading the other. And that's a pretty good practice for that. Then after that, I'd try flashing 2 and going back in. So that would be like, you know, just 1, 2, and then back into cascade. Oops, I just did 3. Well, you can do 3 if you want. But, you know, just trying to flash 3 would be the next after that. And then, you know, running them. Yeah, and so that's practice for lazies. So please send update videos and let me know if you have any questions.